are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast, episode 337 of the College Loop Podcast. I am Doug, on Twitter. Here to talk to you today about the latest in Auburn football news as the first fall practice. Sorry, it feels like spring. It doesn't even feel like fall outside right now. So fall season just doesn't even seem like it's right around the corner. But here to talk about the latest in Auburn football news as the first fall scrimmage of the getting ready for the season, but preseason has officially been underway. And I'm going to go through a few notes in a second, but I do want to reach out and just say congratulations to all of the former Auburn players who are currently in the NFL. I'm going to go ahead and just get that out of the way just because I think it's really cool to talk about. But the preseason is going on for the NFL. And I just want to shout out guys like Justin Rogers, who've already played, getting tackle for loss and 2 tackles in his game. Marcus Harris got a tackle. And, weirdly enough, Jarrett Stidham and Bo Nix are both battling out for a starting position for the Denver Broncos. And just to talk about that for a second, Bo Nix might actually have the job well in hand between the two. Bo Nix leading the Broncos, to 4 scoring drives and a win over the Colts. I love that Bo Nix is playing well. I also love that Jarrett Stidham is still in competition for a starting job in the NFL. 2 quarterbacks that I think are very underrated in Auburn football history. Bo Nix is Jarrett Stidham's underrated. Sorry. Bo Nix is like a top 5 Auburn quarterback all time. Bo Nix is top 10. So underrated might be out of the realm of possibility. I will also say new hat. Just to point that out, 47 has got it going on always. So go check that out. Free sponsor there. But fall scrimmage has been underway. Fan day was yesterday. If you're at fan day, let me know who your favorite Auburn player was to get a picture with. And I still got some comments. Stephen Allen, Broncos are your favorite team? Oh, your new favorite NFL team. Have fun with that. It's not going to be a fun season if you're a Broncos fan. I can speak on that because I'm a Panthers fan. It will not be a fun season for me as well. And good evening, Chris War Eagle, to you as well. But I think the biggest headline, getting into the fall scrimmage notes, biggest headline from this weekend are I don't want to say the 2 most underrated because I think but all 4 of these guys kind of deserve their hype. But the 2 least talked about wide receivers from the Freeze 4, Malcolm Simmons and Bryce Cain, lit up raised the roof off of Jordan Stadium. Those 2 balled out. And of course there's I think Robert Lewis spoke on Malcolm Simmons, and Malcolm Simmons goes per Hugh Freeze goes 100% every single snap he gets, which is awesome. Both those guys, of course, developmental pieces out of the 4. If they're going to be utilized this year, probably won't be redshirted is what I'm thinking, but definitely will be utilized in some way, shape, or form. And then 2025, you're about to see a whole lot of Malcolm Simmons and Bryce Cain because these 2 guys are fast as crap. I mean, Roadrunner level fast because they are ridiculous. And I spoke about this when Malcolm Simmons first signed with Auburn. Dude, out of the 4, I did not understand why he was so undervalued out of the Freeze 4. I feel like Malcolm Simmons didn't get talked about enough because coming from Benjamin Russell, which I guess I don't want to say it's the smallest score, but it kind of is. It's 6A, if I'm not mistaken. But Malcolm Simmons is a daggum athlete in every sense of the word. I mean, capital letters all across the board. This kid, I talked to a coach about this. This kid did everything. He punted, he punt returned, he kicked, he was a quarterback. Everything that required a guy who touched the ball, Malcolm Simmons did for Benjamin Russell. Dude, he is off the charts athletic. And seeing that he's already balling out, that he will go 100% in practice is awesome. And you really get a feel that he's going to get some more playing time. I know he was kind of playing mostly with the second team offense for the scrimmage. You kind of get a feel once you see the Twitters that Auburn has posting more about Malcolm Simmons, that you start to kind of fill in the role that, he might get a bigger part into the season than what people probably would have expected. And, you hear Perry Thompson, who balled out during fall practices that just started off last week. And then Cam Coleman is, of course, he wasn't really utilized all that much during this scrimmage game, but that's, of course, going to be, you don't want to utilize all your best talent right there on the scrimmage field. You got to let the other guys shine, and Malcolm Simmons and Bryce Cain both did. Bryce Cain, I mean, the kid's lightning fast. Both these guys really are, and it's awesome to see how awesome this wide receiver core is. I'm going to speak about how good this wide receiver core is until I can't speak no more. I am so high on this wide receiver core that it's going to be embarrassing if they did not pan out after 4 years, because the talent is all there. It is all there for this wide receiver room to be one of the best in the SEC in a couple of years. I think Mike G has a tweet that's going kind of is going pretty viral, that this wide receiver room has the potential to reach 2019 LSU level like potential. And honestly, I agree. Cam Coleman, again, probably on top. If you were to rank like a list of players that signed with Auburn, that Auburn fans should be the most hyped up about, like all the time, Cam Coleman's high on that list. I'd have to like go through everybody. I mean, but Cam Coleman is right up there, 1, 2, or 3, wherever you want to put that. Cam Coleman is given Auburn fans the whole new outlook on the wide receiver position. Auburn fans we're not used to having wide receivers that are threats to defenses. We're not used to having to rely on the talent of a wide receiver like Cam Coleman has, like Perry Thompson has at that. And now you're getting guys like Malcolm Simmons and Bryce Kane, who are part of the Freeze 4, who are, in every sense of the word, showing just they are just as advertised as dangerous as the Freeze 4 sounds. You know, this core is so good, and even if you don't think the Freeze 4 it makes it the one of the best. I mean, dude, the transfer additions and Kendra Lambert-Smith, who did participate in the scrimmage due to an ankle injury, Robert Lewis, Sam Jackson V had some moments where he went out there and balled out a little bit. He's going to be playing, I think, mostly behind, I think, Keandre Lambert-Smith in the depth chart. But you're seeing it kind of all build together and like fit like a puzzle, that, you know, the quarterbacks, again, just have to be slightly above average for this wide receiver core to really show their worth. I think you're looking at a game manager in the sense. I mean, I look back at Alabama of old, when Nick Saban was in his prime, with, you know, Julio, and then after that he had Amari, and then the whole wide receiver core with Mechie, Judy, Mechie, Ruggs, Smith, all those guys. You didn't need a star-studded quarterback. I mean, you had Tua and Jalen, who are elite quarterbacks, but you had Mac Jones win a title. And of course, you had AJ McCarron win a title. Greg McElroy win a title. All those guys are, I don't want to make fun of them, but are game managers, and that's fine. They won championships. They all 3 of them did. And you look at Auburn, and Peyton Thorne had flashes of being really good last year. Had some moments where he looked a little airheaded at times. Didn't look like he knew what he was doing, but you kind of get the sense that it maybe had to do with the fact the wide receiver core last year, outside of Jay Fair and the tight ends, I mean, lacked the talent needed to help out a quarterback that needs that level of talent around him. And I'm very high on Peyton Thorne this year. I mean, you have Hugh Freeze speaking very, very highly of what Peyton Thorne is, how he's going to look going into the season. The confidence level for Peyton Thorne is there. He is the most confident he has been probably since he's been in college, because the Hugh Freeze, the staff, the team is all behind PT. And you kind of feel a sense of joy that that's going on. I know everyone, there's always going to be a split in the fans. I'll live and die on this hill that the fans are sometimes the worst part of teams, because they have the bad eggs that all hate the players because they're like, oh, well, he was bad last year, so he's going to be bad this year. He was average last year. Why would he go up a level this year? It's things like that. Like, oh, players develop. And yes, Peyton Thorne's, I think he's going into a senior year. Give it some time. You have a quarterback a developmental coach who can take Peyton Thorne and probably get him to superstar level, or get him to like elite level college quarterback. But getting Peyton Thorne back to how he was at Michigan State that year that they won 10 games. You don't need Peyton Thorne to throw for 4,000 yards for Auburn to win, upset. I'll probably say just in Missouri. You need Peyton Thorne just to be able to get the ball to his targets without giving it to the other team. And I think you got that with Peyton Thorne. And of course, outside of Peyton Thorne, during the scrimmages, there were some more moments with the quarterbacks that, leaves a lot to be desired after Peyton Thorne. But that's how most teams are. Your starting quarterback's going to be your best quarterback on the team. And Hugh Freeze knows that. Ken Austin knows that. the team knows that. Peyton Thorne is the starting quarterback. He has this awesome wide receiver core that, again, everyone's in agreement. The wide receiver core is insane. Again, best wide receiver core Auburn might have ever had. And going into next year, I mean, you're going to be picking up some 25 guys. You got Derek Smith already, who's a dog. Dude fights for yards. He can also play defense. He doesn't want to play defense, but he can play defense, and he'll lay the boom on a dude. The wide receiver core is slowly taking its shape. All the best teams in college football recruit elite talent at the wide receiver room from the high school level. And Hugh Freeze did it last year. Hugh Freeze is attempting to do that this year. He's doing that in 2026. He is trying to build up the talent level of Auburn into a team that can fit his scheme. That's why he has said explicitly that, this year is going to probably be mostly a running team. But with the wide receiver core you have right now, if you're very confident, you could try to implement what you want to do next. But you have to develop the talent behind Peyton Thorne. You got to develop the talent that you have behind your starters. And Malcolm Simmons, Bryce Cain need some development. But the fact that they are already widening eyes and dropping jaws already for how they're playing. I mean, I saw the greatest. I saw a Miracle of Jordan Hare level catch from Malcolm Simmons from the film that they posted on the Twitter. That's not a catch that most players can just make. And of course, yeah, the tip drill, anyone can just grab that. But the awareness level of a freshman doing that is insane. So I'm super excited to see how these two play out. I know Malcolm Simmons and Bryce Cain are both taking reps at return positions because of how quick they are. So in any sense, if they're not mostly playing wide receiver this year, you will get to witness their speed in the return game. And I mean, dude, one of these two, if not both, one of these two will get a punt return touchdown by the end of their career at Auburn. I'll sign a deal on that. I'll give away an 8A ticket if for 5 years down the line, if neither one of these two got a punt return touchdown. I'll give 2 8A tickets away if neither one of these two get a punt return touchdown by the end of their career, which would probably be, I guess, 2029. If any of y'all remember that by that time, put your reminder on your phone. Hey, I'll do a drawing and everything. I'll do it. I am dead set on how talented these two are. They're quick, fast, every sense of the word, all caps of those words, lightning, and every definition of that word. But yeah, awesome wide receiver core. And then the next thing I've been seeing going into the defensive side of the ball, there's a lot of defensive notes that I have here. So a little revision to my depth charts that I've been doing throughout the off season. It does look like Isaiah Rakes, the former USC Trojan / Texas A&M Aggie, has started taking first team reps at the nose tackle position, right in front of Jason Jones and Tro Carter. And I've been seeing some pictures of Isaiah Rakes wearing number 22, which I don't know how I feel about defensive lineman wearing 22. I think it looks goofy, but if Isaiah Rakes is already, raking offensive linemen out of the way and filling up gaps, I am A-okay with that. You have to be an elite level talent at the defensive line to wear a 20s number. And it's really funny to me. And I honestly, he's a massive. The pictures of him in the Auburn uniform. It looks like they got him like 2 sizes too small in the jersey. Dude is huge. He's right in the same size as Jason Jones. They play the same position, and it seems like over the course of fall camp that he has since taken that role of starting nose tackle, starting nose guard, whichever one you want to call it. So that's really cool to see that position's kind of coming into light. Out of all of the defensive positions that I've been trying to predict, nose tackle has always been the hardest because I always assumed at first thought I was going to be Jason Jones, and then practice went on, and I was like, okay, it's Tro Carter. And now after fall camp, it's like, okay, during fall camp, it's Isaiah Rakes. So you're starting to see the depth chart kind of come together. And of course, you got some injuries. I know, as I said earlier, Country Lambert Smith out with an ankle, so you got to see a lot of Sam Jackson and got to see a lot more of Malcolm Simmons as well. But I guess you could see a lot of those guys anyways. And also Keontae Scott. I'm messing up words. Also had to sit out with an injury. I got to see a lot of Antonio Kite as well in the cornerback room. He actually came up. He'll be the third string corner, I presume that would be, for behind Keontae. And then, of course, Champ Anthony's in the nickel position. That's something I predicted correctly. And going into the defensive line and back to them, I know I'm kind of like going all over the place. I'm just going to go through all my notes that I have. After Isaiah Rakes, if you go over one to the edge rush position and look at Jalen McLeod is a dog. Guy right after him, the depth chart, Kieran Crawford. Dude's massive. Dude's a freaking he's a walking bicep. Is how the best thing I can describe Kieran Crawford. This man is a scary dude when he is all uniformed up for a football game. He is terrifying. I could not imagine him being a guy. I go back to high school. My high school days. I was never the biggest dude on the offensive line, but I could not imagine if Kieran Crawford was a dude in front of me. Dude is, if in the sense of Jalen McLeod is a great speed rusher, Kieran Crawford is a dog of a power rusher. And I've been hearing Jalen's been saying this a lot too. The fact that these two guys are going to be on the defensive line at the same position, or are going to be on the defensive line at the same time. I'm watching Kieran kind of going for Keldrick and Keldrick going inside, and then Jalen's on the edge. Dude, that is terrifying for opposing for offensive lines. That is awesome. I think when you picked up Crawford, I didn't watch a lot of Arkansas State last year. I'm sorry. But I was like, okay, well, we got a guy behind Jalen. Jalen dealt with some injuries last year. Didn't get to see a lot of them. And you pick up Crawford, you get a veteran guy kind of be between, him and I guess Jamata Waller would be the guy trying to get the freshmen some more time to develop before you get to throw them in. But, dude, Kieran Crawford has been wiping the floor during fall camp and spring and everything. Just seeing him in the Auburn uniform it looks intimidating. So I cannot imagine trying to scheme for the defensive line that would be what we're looking at Isaiah Rakes as. Keldrick Falk moving inside to the defensive line, and then seeing Kieran Crawford at probably playing more of an edge defensive end than just a defensive end, and then Jalen McLeod on the other side. That defensive line is horrifying for offenses. I could not imagine trying to scheme for that, because that's awesome. That is great. But that's like my biggest note from Kieran Crawford is the fact that seeing him with Jalen McLeod is going to go crazy. Next note that I have goes into the kind of the depth of defensive line. Seeing Malik Blockton working with the first team was really cool. Hearing about that was really cool for me, because of the fact that I've been saying for so long that Malik Blockton could end up being one of the more underrated pieces of this 2024 class. I have seen him in action firsthand. I've talked to coaches who have played against him. Their scheme for Malik Blockton in high school was notice where he is and go the other way. And even then, that does not work. He is a monster. So going into like this past recruiting class and going into this current recruiting class from Malik Autry, Auburn found a defensive lineman that I think is an X factor waiting to happen, and going in to go get another one in this class. Malik Autry and Malik Blockton are going to form one heck of a duo in the future. And just the fact that he's already working out with the first team just kind of proves that sometimes I know what I'm talking about. Malik Blockton is a dog. I don't think anyone ever doubted that, but he's wearing 47 and he's playing like a dog. He's a dog. He's earned the 47. I'll give him that one. And then last little note I have for fall scrimmage, Sylvester Smith and Caleb Wooden are still battling out for the other starting safety position. Of course, Jaron Thompson has pretty much had his role since the beginning, since he got on campus, since he signed, or since he transferred, and Laquan Robinson is going to be right behind Jaron. But it just still looks like Sylvester Smith and Caleb Wooden still battling out. And you can't go wrong with either one of them. I think they kind of play a little similarly. Just combine that together in your head. So I kind of see the battling out. And, of course, Caleb Wooden, I believe, has been here longer and gives him the veteran edge. But seeing that all the constant battles are going to be fun throughout the last couple weeks. I think right now we're at 20 days until Auburn football is back on our screens, or we're all back together in beautiful Jordan-Hare Stadium, watching Auburn take on Alabama A&M. So can't wait for that. But that's pretty much all my fall scrimmage notes. We'll still see more fall camp going on later on throughout the week, and of course talking about Auburn football, until the show comes to an end officially, because Auburn football is always going to be on our minds, because Auburn football never ends, especially whenever you're recruiting 24/7 like Hugh Freeze is doing. But of course, that kind of does it for the fall scrimmage notes. Again, stay tuned for that. But keep in mind, Tuesday, keep it football-wise, we'll go into basketball in just a second. Tuesday, we'll be doing a preview of the Texas A&M game. And then Thursday, I was not around for the Thursday show this past week because I was dog tired from work. But we will be doing the secondary preview, kind of wrapping up the position preview series. We'll probably incorporate the special teams with that as well, just kind of get it all and one. And then after that, going to start doing some SEC previews, kind of going through other teams around the SEC, trying to see how they turn out, strengths, weaknesses, all that stuff coming from right here on the College League Podcast. Kind of enlighten the world about the colleges around the Southeast, keeping everybody else in the loop as well with those, because why not? Let's talk about why we think Alabama might go 9-3. Stephen Allen, TJ Finley is going to torch Bama. Does Western Kentucky play Alabama this year? Am I correct in that sentiment? Now you got me consider War Eagle Trevor. I forgot I didn't say that. Did they play Western Kentucky this year? There's no way, right? There's no way we get to see TJ Finley versus Alabama part 2. Oh, that's week 1. Oh, dude. Let's go. That's awesome. I didn't know that. Maybe he won't overthrow any receivers in this one. I'm still weighing heavily on the fact that Jackson McFadden could have had a 50-plus yard touchdown. Friend of the Loop could have had a large touchdown catch to probably give Auburn the win in that game if TJ Finley not overthrow him. But Georgia State, Georgia State. What do you mean Georgia State? I thought he played West Kentucky. Are you messing with me right now, Stephen? If I'm not mistaken, he is at Western Kentucky. I would have heard. I gotta stop the show for this. He is at Western Kentucky. Hey, there's no transferring. Yeah, he's still at Western Kentucky. You're messing with my brain. Yeah, he's at Western Kentucky. That's week 1. Alabama plays TJ Finley week 1. There we go. Send that up. But we'll be right back. We're going to do a little ad break, and then we'll come back and talk about some underrated or some impact players that we're seeing for Auburn basketball in just a second. So we'll be right back.
Are you tired of having to rummage through just clothes after clothes after clothes looking for something to wear? Are you tired of your friends making fun of you for your terrible fashion sense? Well, do we have the shirt for you? Go to thewarreport.com, get your laptop out and do it right now. Go to the shop and get your very own Feelin' Loopy t-shirt as well as your college loop hat, and you can get both of them for only $25 each. Plus shipping and handling, of course. But with that, now back to your regular scheduled program.
And of course, thewarreport.com. Click the shop, first page, college loop hat, which I'm not wearing right now. Sorry. I just bought this hat, so I have to break it in a little bit. Also bought a Panthers hat, going back to the NFL conversation earlier, which I'll also be wearing a lot throughout the week. And of course, second page, Feelin' Loopy t-shirt, most comfortable shirt you're going to wear your entire life. I've actually heard that if you wear both at the same time, your mood just goes up. Auburn actually gains. The more people that wear the college loop hat and college loop shirt at the same time, it adds one more win to Auburn's win total going into this season. So make sure to grab those before the season starts. That way, because it has, if you don't get it until this year, if you get it before this year starts, it adds to this year. But after this year, once the first game starts, it goes into it goes into the basketball season, which, buy both multiple. I was going to say next football season. This goes in the next football season. There you go. But get those out. $50 total for both, $25 each. If you're just vibing with the hat, vibing with the shirt, it's only $25. Again, it's comfortable stuff you're going to wear in your entire life, courtesy of the War Report shop. But of course, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're enjoying the show. Leave your thoughts on Auburn football. What do you think the record's going to be? Who do you think is going to start a wide receiver? If you already know, it's going to be Cam Coleman, Robert Lewis, and Keon Gilbert Smith. But out of you can't say Perry Thompson or Cam Coleman. Which player out of the class of 2024 is going to have the biggest breakout season in their first year on the Plains? There you go. That's a good question. Outside of Perry Thompson and Cam Coleman, which true freshman is going to have the biggest breakout season in 2024? That's your question to answer today. But as we move on to Auburn basketball, we're getting very close. We're under 100 days. I can't remember the exact total off the top of my head right now, but we're under 100 days until Auburn basketball returns to our TVs. And, of course, back to all of us in Auburn, beautiful Neville Arena. There we go. For both men's and women's basketball, because those are both tournament teams this year. Those are both tournament teams playing in Auburn Arena. So that's greatest thing ever. But John Rothstein has made some lists for impact players as well as under the radar. So John Rothstein said Tahad Pettiford is going to be an impact freshman. Miles Kelly is going to be an impact transfer. And JP Pegues is going to be an under the radar transfer, which kind of started off with JP Pegues. I kind of find it weird that he's an under the radar player, because I remember whenever Auburn first got Pegues from Furman, if I'm not mistaken, it was massive. I don't see really any of these guys or any of the transfers picked up as being an under the radar outside of trying to remember top of my head, the guy who played at UAH, or the guy we got from the JUCO ranks, kind of being under the radar. JP Pegues was a dog last year. I'm pretty sure he's averaged 14 plus the past 2 years that he was not with Auburn. I don't think he's under the radar in the slightest, but him being on that list, I'm fine with it. Throw some more love. I make Auburn underrated. Why not? But also Tahad Pettiford going on impact freshman list is also awesome. I think it's all 3 guards, by the way. Miles Kelly is impact transfer from Georgia Tech. Auburn's going into the season with awesome 4-guard combo. You have Tahad, Miles, JP, and Denver Jones. And last year, that was the issue, was trying to find the rotation of guards that works. Now you have 4 guys that you're extremely confident in. You can't also forget that there's like 4 forwards that are also a great combination. And you have 2 of the best centers in the league in Janai Broom and Dylan Cardwell. This team is stacked. I am so excited for the season to get underway. Again, I just don't know why JP Pegues is under the radar. I still think that if I'm not mistaken, I know depth charts that are out yet. Just my thoughts. I still think JP Pegues might get the start at the point guard over Tahad, and then those 2 will just flip flop. And Miles Kelly and Denver Jones will also kind of go around. But I think every single one of these guys are going to have their chance to start at the 1. This team is stacked. It's just absolutely stacked. There's a reason why this team's projected to be like the number 2 team in the nation in the preseason. There's a reason why this team is already a favorite for the championship, and why this team is already, I don't want to say already locked in, knock on wood, going to March Madness. The ceiling is very high. The floor is not as low as some seasons might be. I think this team is a tournament team, whether it's a first round exit or if it's a national championship team. This team is going to March. They're that good. It's all about getting the chemistry together, and then hopefully the season just goes beautifully. The schedule is already the toughest in the country. That's just going to be awesome to watch, especially if you're going to go. Let me know if anyone's planning on going to the Auburn Duke game, just because I think I would love to go to that, but I don't know if I'll have the leeway to go to it. But with that kind of does it for my basketball news. The guys making lists, we're not quite there to talk about basketball games quite yet. They've still got less than 100 days. Starts in November, but I don't think this team. And I see Steven, I hope we make it past the first round. I think this team, the floor for this team for me sounds like Sweet 16. That sounds like the floor to me. And that might be me boogieing over here with the glasses. I'll say it with the glasses on just to make it funny. The floor for this team is a Sweet 16. The floor for this team is a Sweet 16. And I'll take the glasses off as I get done being realistic. This is the best team as a whole that Bruce Pearl has put together. I genuinely think that with the veteran leadership, the additions made to the portal, and the Ja'Kai Howard and Todd Pettiford, 2 pretty high-ranking freshmen coming in, dude, this is a great team. This is probably, again, you have the Bari and Walker team, but as a whole, that team had weaknesses. There's not a lot of weaknesses on this team, and I think that you're going to have to deal with the SEC is going to be the toughest part of the season, because the SEC in any single sport is the toughest conference in the country. I think they seem to handle it. And again, I think they're going into the year with the big, the monster of the SEC looking over their shoulder, because I think Auburn goes into the season with a chip on their shoulder because this is the best team in the SEC. I think Alabama is probably number 2, and Arkansas kind of built up a pretty stacked team in themselves. This is the best team in the SEC going into the year. There's a chip on their shoulder to win a championship. This is the closest team at the preseason that Bruce Pearl has had that has a chance of getting him a championship. But I'm super stoked for basketball, super stoked for all the sports going on right now. Shout out Suni Lee before I end the show. Pretty cool that Auburn has an athlete that is not only helped Auburn win, but helped America win. That's the best thing about it. America on top yet again, always in the Olympics. USA, raw. With that being said, thank everybody for joining in for today's installment of the College League Podcast. We'll be back on Tuesday to help preview Texas A&M and talk about anything else that happens from now to then. I'm, of course, Dylan Larck, on Twitter. Also follow my Instagram as well, Dylan Larck at DYLENLARCK. And of course, from right on the College League Podcast, we would like, comment, and subscribe. Leave your thoughts again on Auburn football. And also, remember, don't forget to answer the question: if Perry Thompson and Cam Coleman are not available, which true freshman do you think is going to have the biggest breakout season in 2024? We already got an answer from Stephen Allen saying Towns Magoo, in light of his amazing A-Day that he had. Still waiting to hear if Alex McPherson is going to be good to go. I know he's dealing with some bowel issues over the offseason. Still hoping he's going to be okay. But if not, at least Auburn is good to go with Towns. I mean, Auburn has the best 1-2 punch at kicker out of the country. I'll say out of the country, Auburn has the best 1-2 punch at kicker. You could just put them both in. You need to play offense. Just kick the ball from the 50, and you're going to win a bunch of games just by not missing a field goal. Just have them tag team like wrestling. But with that being said, don't forget to check out the audio version of the show as well on Spotify, Google Podcasts, of course, Amazon Music, and all of our socials at the College Loop. Check those out as well. But of course, all that being said, thanks for tuning in to this time of the College Loop Podcast. And as always, War Eagle.